Why won't you go to the UK and make jokes about Islam?
I don't think it's very funny. I don't have any jokes about it. I'm so confused. Dude.
Okay, let me help unconfuse. I'll bet you $1,000 you will not go to the UK and make a joke about any of that stuff, because you will not go to a foreign country and, in violation of their laws, speak out against what they've said not to speak out against. Do it. I dare you. $10,000 in my house. I let you in the door. I said, you can hang out tonight. And you started shit talking my brother. I say, bro, I'm going to give you a ride home. I don't think you should be here. That's not an affront to someone's sovereignty or free speech. It's like the worst thing that happened to you is I gave you a ride home. Oh, I'm going to cry. She's going home. What's the problem? You can show a big picture of Mohammed.
I'm sorry. What the thing that you're doing?
Stand up for free speech, brother. Do it.
So
I'll do it with you.
So you're demanding me to go on stage and
Prove
do
you
something
care about
specific,
free speech. Prove
and
you care
unless
about
I do, I'm a coward.
Your argument is that foreigners should come here.
So one of your
no
values is you should respect the sovereignty of other nations. But again, look,
yeah, for
this
sure.
this is a
Should we invade
this
China?
this is a recent.
You're about to watch Adam Conover, the Adam Ruins Everything guy, get absolutely demolished by Tim Pool on the subject of free speech. And I mean demolished. This entire conversation is Adam trying desperately to paint Tim as some hypocrite on free speech, while simultaneously defending the deportation of a foreign national who violated the terms of her visa. The mental gymnastics are insane. Tim literally gets Adam to admit he wouldn't go to the UK or Turkey and violate their speech laws, which is the exact point Tim's been making the entire time. And Adam still won't concede. You're going to watch Adam dodge, deflect, and try every rhetorical trick in the book to avoid the obvious contradiction in his position. And you're going to watch Tim dismantle every single attempt. This gets wild. Let's get into it.
Why won't you go to the UK and make jokes about Islam?
I don't think it's very funny. I don't have any jokes about it. I'm so confused. Dude.
Okay, let me help unconfuse you. Are there jokes that can be made about Islam? Yes or no?
Wait, I don't
Yes
want to.
no?
I don't want to go to
Are you
this
scared?
particular rabbit
Oh,
hole.
no. You're terrified. You're a hypocrite.
What?
Are there jokes you can make about Islam? Mohammed banged a little girl, right?
I'm really baffled.
Come on. You're terrified of the subject. I'm not.
No, I'm not.
In the UK, you can be jailed for making jokes about Islam or even bring up the grooming gangs. There are people who go online and pointed out that a stabbing was carried out by a Muslim, and they got arrested for it. I'll bet you $1,000 you will not go to the UK and make a joke about any of that stuff, because you will not go to a foreign country and, in violation of their laws, speak out against what they've said not to speak out against. Do it. I dare you. $10,000. Cash in your pocket if you go to the UK and make a joke about Mohammed having a 12-year-old wife.
This we got here faster than I thought we would in this conversation. Where you're shouting at me about something I don't understand. I don't really understand how you would think it's incumbent upon me.
Do you think anybody watching this right now thinks you are confused by the notion that in the UK you go to jail for mocking Islam?
I don't understand how we got onto you shouting at me about Islam specifically. I'd like to return to the point I was trying to make.
It's because you said people should be allowed to come to this country and speak out against it. And you said you're a comedian, and and you go to other countries, right? And you said you go to the UK. And I said, okay, if you go to the UK, speak out in violation of their laws and see what happens. And you said, I'm confused. I don't understand. What don't you understand? Will you go to Turkey? Will you go to Turkey and speak out against Islam?
I mean, if I have a joke to make, sure. I don't have a joke about those particular topics.
You would.
I would.
You're saying if you had a joke about.
Oh yeah. Sure. I would try to do the best I can. I always try to poke the bear as much as I can. It's part of the job of a comedian.
Nothing to poke the bear
because
about as it pertains to one of the world's largest religions. I mean, come on.
I mean, I haven't written a joke about that recently. All right. Then
I look forward to going to the UK.
Hey man, I'm a free speech guy, right? I think that something that's nice about America is that we're a country that has that value, and that we don't generally think that you should be tossed into a van and kicked out of the country for expressing an opinion. I think that it is a change.
No right to
I
be
think it's a change in America to most people around the world to feel that, oh, wait, if I go to America and I express a mild opinion about their foreign policy in my own student paper, or maybe on a stage or maybe somewhere else, I could be, without any warning to me, accosted by 6 people on the street, thrown into a van, and taken out of the country.
Oh, come on,
right?
accosted.
Oh, let me finish.
Don't load the
I think that's a strain. I think that's a new idea for a lot of people, that America is that type of country. I think that Donald Trump's purpose is to turn America into that type of country. I think that that's bad. I think it makes the country smaller. I think it makes the country worse. I think it's a violation of most of the values that I grew up with as an American. And that's my view of what's happening in the country. Now, if you want to say, hey, I don't like free speech for foreign nationals who are in the country who express mild opinions about other countries' foreign wars, then that's your prerogative. It's a big difference between us that you don't like free speech in that way.
I mean, that's loaded language, right?
Yeah, all the language you're using is pretty loaded.
Well, you keep using adjectives to describe things, to diminish one thing while exacerbate or exaggerate something else.
I do use the English language to express my thoughts and opinions. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's straw manning. It's not a legitimate attack of the ideas, right? So accosted on the street. Come on. She was arrested. Okay. She was arrested by a relatively large group of men compared to what a normal arrest would require, which I think they didn't need to do and was silly. So we can say she was arrested by several men, unmarked, or plain clothes, which didn't need to happen. But I don't need to say, like, she was accosted by men on the street and, like, it was about a mild opinion. It's like, okay, listen, the facts of the case, like I said, I don't like the idea that people come to this country and then try and tell us how to live our lives.
You're not for free speech. I understand.
I think American citizens have self-determination and sovereignty. And I will say this even of the Canadians who keep coming here and they keep getting involved in our politics. I'm friends with some of them, but I think it's fair to say that there is an issue with Canadians, largely conservatives, who come to this country and then start advocating for conservative values in a country they're not from. So, to be fair, there are liberal Canadians who do it too. I find it to be silly. That being said, Canada as a bordering nation with a largely overlapping culture is a morally different question, but still applies in much the same way principally. So I do take issue with foreigners coming to my country.
It's a nice white country, so we like it.
Canada's they call it what, the most multicultural country in the world, I think. Mm-hmm. They big on immigration. I think Toronto is considered to be the most multicultural city in the world.
Yeah.
So Canada actually is. You can call it a nice white country. That's technically the truth, but it also is very, very much in favor of immigration and diversity and all these things, largely what many of the conservatives who come here are speaking out against. But without, you know,
this is a country where if you're from another country and you're in America, don't say anything about our politics, or you could be forcibly removed from the country. You're comfortable with America being that kind of country.
Marginally.
That's something that's like that's a value of yours. Those are your values.
See, you're doing it again.
No, I'm trying to understand what you actually believe.
Yeah, I'd say marginally, it's a good.
Because I think that's a point of distinction.
It's
like
it's
useful in a conversation like this to be like, okay, I have my value, you have your value, and my value is like, I really like it when people say what the fuck they think about any country's politics.
We can simplify it. My value would just be, to whatever mathematical degree, American sovereignty supersedes the right of foreigners to speak about our policies.
But in this case,
that's just my value.
So you think that literally any time America is exercising its sovereignty, that's like a good thing in that particular case? Like, because
what does that mean?
Like,
you're a guest in our with all due respect, I think I said it like 6-7 times. You're a guest in our country. Adhere to the rules. That's it. That includes conservative Canadians, conservative Brits. That's Carl Benjamin. That's Paul Joseph Watson. That's Viva Fry. That's Seth Rogen. And it's also
so all those people should not speak about American national interests, in, like the Suez Canal. We shouldn't say the Panama Canal, or like is Puerto Rico a state or not? Visa. They should not speak about American politics.
You can speak about what you want, but speech has consequences.
I mean,
doesn't it?
Okay, so we can move on. I'll say, to me, that's a radically different America than I thought I grew up in. And I think it's fucked up that we're becoming that kind of country. I think it's really bad.
Think that's true.
Yeah, you don't believe I think that's true?
Well, I mean, I suppose I
Like
could
what
say,
I just said, I believe, you're like, you don't believe that.
Well, because if we go back several administrations, that's not been the case ever. I mean, look at New York in the 2000s when the Bush administration rounded people up, and well, I'm sorry, it wasn't Bush, during the Bush years, and they put 200 people in like a bus. They locked them in a bus cage.
Yeah, that was bad.
That's the country you grew up in. The idea that
and
these
it was
things
bad.
haven't been happening. George Carlin got arrested for swearing. We had blasphemy
and it
laws
was
on the book.
Yeah,
You
and it
actually
was
are
bad.
claiming
And then we
Okay, so let me break down what just happened here, because Adam is doing something really, really sneaky, and I want you to catch it. He's framing this entire debate around America is becoming an authoritarian country where people live in fear of what they say. He keeps using words like accosted, thrown into a van, mild opinion. All of this loaded language designed to make you feel like this woman was some innocent victim who got kidnapped off the street for writing a harmless op-ed. But here's what Adam refuses to address. She was on a conditional visa. She agreed to terms when she entered this country. Those terms say you can't come here and advocate against U.S. foreign policy. She violated those terms. Her visa was revoked. She got sent home. That's it. That's the entire story. Now Adam wants you to believe that enforcing the conditions of a visa, conditions that she agreed to, is the same thing as living in some totalitarian state where citizens are arrested for expressing opinions. It's not. It's not even close. And Tim calls this out perfectly when he says, "Do you understand the distinction between a non-citizen here on a conditional visa and an American citizen being arrested for swearing?" Like, this should be the easiest thing in the world to understand. If you're a guest in someone's house and you agree to follow their rules, and then you break those rules, they can ask you to leave. That's not authoritarian. That's just basic consequences for your actions. But Adam can't accept this because his entire worldview is built on the idea that America is the bad guy. He wants so badly to believe that Trump is turning America into some dystopian nightmare that he's willing to completely ignore the actual facts of the case. And you can see Tim getting frustrated with this because Adam keeps circling back to the same emotional appeals. Her family cares. The people at her university care, instead of engaging with the actual legal and moral framework. And here's the funniest part. Adam literally admits later in this conversation that he wouldn't go to the UK or Turkey and violate their speech laws. He says, and I'm paraphrasing, "I respect the sovereignty of nations, and if they have laws, I'm not going to violate them." Which is the exact position Tim has been arguing this entire time. The exact position. But Adam can't see it because he's so ideologically captured. Let me know in the comments what you guys think about this. Do you think Adam genuinely doesn't understand the difference between a conditional visa and citizen rights? Or is he just being intellectually dishonest because he hates Trump?
And then we
Indeed,
said,
and you
we
grew
shouldn't
up in
do that
nation,
anymore.
And it never changed. The idea that you think you grew up in a nation where you could say whatever you wanted is an absurdity. George Carlin went to jail for swearing.
And that was good, you think?
No, it
because
wasn't.
you think it's good that Rumeysa Ozturk is being forced
She's
to
not
leave
a
the country.
citizen.
So
she's on a conditional visa as conditioned by the INA and the existing administration and the will of the voters.
okay, but you're arguing.
no. My argument
you're
is
arguing that
you said the
Ozturk's
country I
deportation
grew
makes
up in.
sense because George Carlin was arrested for swearing.
No, you said I grew up in a country with free speech, and I said no, you did not.
And
it's never been true.
And you're like, okay, you're right. So under your view, America is a country that doesn't have free speech, never had free speech.
Yes.
And that's a good thing.
No.
Because we're exercising our sovereignty.
No.
Okay, but you think it's a good thing that Rumeysa Ozturk doesn't have free speech?
Can you understand the distinction between a non-citizen here on a conditional visa and an American citizen being arrested for swearing?
I understand that there's a
Very
distinction.
different
I don't
circumstances.
think that either of those people should be treated differently in that case.
Let me say this.
I don't agree
This
with you,
country
man.
has never had free speech.
Okay, I think
It's a fact. When the founding fathers finalized the
Do
Constitution,
you think we should have free speech?
yes, but there are limits on what free speech is based on the moral worldview of the individual argument. For instance, do you believe someone should be allowed to direct someone to commit a violent crime?
That's
Yes or
not
no?
that's not the moral worldview of an argument. That is the effect of the speech. So you think that whether you have free speech should be your words should be based on the moral worldview of the argument.
So to understand
certain
your view of
arguments-
what free speech means, I'm asking you a question. If somebody says explicitly, you right now commit crime to that person, is that free speech?
Someone says you right now commit crime to that person, and what do they do it?
Yes.
I mean, I guess I'm not a free speech scholar, but like that is there's probably be legal consequences for that free speech.
It is illegal to do that. Do you think someone should be able to yell fire in a crowded theater?
I mean, this is the canonical example of a speech that's not free speech. So
It actually is. That's Brandenburg v. Ohio. It is, in fact, legal speech. I don't think people should. I understand the Supreme Court's ruling on that issue. The challenge with free speech, let's go back to the beginning of this country. Blasphemy laws were on the books after they even had the First Amendment.
So
They literally said you can't blaspheme. We would say that's not free speech, but how did you have a First Amendment if you arrested people for blaspheming? My point is, and this is an anarchist philosophy, the laws of the country are dictated by those with the power to enforce it. That's why it used to be illegal to put a pie on your windowsill, but even though it's still illegal, nobody arrests you for it. So free speech does change throughout the generations.
Of course.
We never grew up in an era, we never had a time in our lives where you had true free speech the way the absolutists want it to be.
yeah, I'm talking about the story that we tell about ourselves as a country, man. I'm talking about
it's not true.
I'm talking about the values that we have collectively as people. And of course those are always changing a little bit and people are trying to pull them in one direction or another.
Split in half.
I would have thought, that like, I don't know that much about you. I know you're very involved with Occupy and stuff like that and protest movements, which I think is cool work. I would have thought that like a student writing an op-ed about another country's war and her own institution's support for it, vis-a-vis our country's foreign policy, would be the kind of thing that you would think is a sort of free speech that we should value. That is the kind of free speech that I think, I personally think like a lot of the idea of America is built upon. I think it's one of the good things about the country, that this is a country where you can come here and you can express your opinion mildly in the newspaper.
What happened at Kent State?
And I think Kent State was bad.
My point is, there's things we wish America was. But I kind of feel like a non-citizen.
But this
getting,
one you
getting
said
deported.
you think is good. You're not sitting here going, man, yeah, that's
She got
a bummer.
deported,
She got
dude.
deported.
What are you talking about? She didn't get shot in the face. A conditional visa was revoked. I'm not crying about it. I don't care.
I mean, I think she cares. I think
That's
her
too
family
fucking
cares. I
bad.
think the people of her university care. I think
Change the law, man. This is a marginal issue for a single person who was in violation of the INA as it's enforced by a government that was elected by a popular majority, or I should say by a plurality, but the popular vote. So let me pull this up because this is what we were talking about earlier. This is RCP from April 22nd. Every age bracket, to be fair, 40-49 is a tie, but Real Clear Politics aggregate shows from all of the latest polls, 70 plus is the only age group that is a negative view of Trump's job.
okay. I'm just trying to.
This is a popular majority.
I'm just trying to make sense of your position around free speech because you agree with me about all the past things in America that you're talking about. Kent State, you're talking about George Carlin and all these other things, and these were bad abrogations of free speech.
Indeed, deportation is not a murder. You're going home. I'm giving you a ride home.
But
if you came to my house, I let you in the door. I said, you can hang out tonight. And you started shit talking my brother. I say, bro, I'm going to give you a ride home. I don't think you should be here. That's not an affront to someone's sovereignty or free speech. It's like the worst thing that happened to you is I gave you a ride home. Oh, I'm going to cry. She's going home. What's the problem? Home's nice. She was here conditionally. We said, hey, we kind of think you're being a dick. We're going to give you a ride home. That's it.
I mean, when I get a ride home,
Kent State,
six
they
guys
shot
don't
people and
normally
killed
shove me into a van, and then my family doesn't know where I am. That's
how about you're at a bar and you're acting out in some way, and they say, listen, buddy,
do you feel
security throws you out of the bar.
Do you feel this
gets
woman
you a
was
cab.
acting out? Do you think she was acting inappropriately? Do you think that she was acting?
I've already told you I did not.
Okay,
I said,
so then how are you justifying what happened?
I don't think you can
legally narrow that it can happen. Therefore, it's good.
I don't think you know how to separate. I just don't think you know how to comprehend the separation between. I have no issue with a woman making her argument. I think it was absurd to claim she's adhering to Hamas because she's critical of Israel. But her visa is conditional, and it is the authority of these United States and the Secretary of State to revoke that. So it's okay, right? Trump won the popular vote.
What? But
this is the agenda.
Man. Sorry, man. This is the hump that I can't get over.
Clearly,
you don't have any problem with what she actually did, right? But Trump and Rubio had the narrow legal ability to do it.
You're not following.
Do you agree with their decision to do it?
I think there is a net negative to a degree that foreigners come to this country to dictate our politics. Be it Canadian, British,
dictate our politics, or just give their opinion in the newspaper that's dictating.
Let's I'll turn on the language. To come here and advocate for policies of the American people.
So you feel that foreign nationals of all kinds, when they're in the United States, should never speak about our politics ever, upon pain of legal punishment. That is a position that you have about America generally.
Did they agree to it? When they applied for the visa under the INA, did they agree to those terms?
I don't know.
The answer is yes, they did. It clearly states when you're coming here on a condition, you can't do certain things. It literally says you won't protest. And we still would allow them to hold a sign up or something. But maybe if they didn't.
But apparently we don't allow them to hold a sign up. So I'm not asking about what they agreed to. I'm not asking about the legal justification.
Don't agree to things you don't want to hear.
Do you, Tim Pool, believe that as a moral issue, as a practical issue? Do you think that America should be a country in which every foreign national in the country should feel that they should never speak about American politics under pain of...
Oh, man. This is where it gets absolutely hilarious. Tim just checkmated Adam so hard, and Adam doesn't even realize it yet. Watch what Tim just did. Tim spent the entire first half of this conversation establishing that Adam doesn't actually believe in absolute free speech. Adam kept saying, I value free speech. I think people should be able to say what they want. But then when Tim pressed him on it, Adam admitted he wouldn't go to the UK or Turkey and violate their speech laws. So Adam's position is, I believe in free speech, but only within the boundaries of what's legally permissible in whatever country I'm in. Which is fine. That's actually a totally reasonable position. But it's also the exact position Tim has been arguing. Tim saying, America has laws. She agreed to those laws. She violated them. Consequences happened. That's it. That's the whole thing. So now Tim turns it around and says, okay, if you really believe in free speech as this sacred value, prove it. Go on stage and show a picture of Mohammed. Say something that actually puts you at risk. Do what Charlie Hebdo did. Do what South Park tried to do. And Adam's response? I don't have anything in particular to say about those topics. Dude, come on. This is so transparent. Adam spent 20 minutes lecturing Tim about how important free speech is, how America is becoming this authoritarian nightmare where people are scared to express themselves, how we need to defend the right of people to say controversial things. And then when Tim challenges him to actually do that, to actually take a real risk for free speech, Adam backs down immediately. And Tim's not even saying Adam has to do it. He's just pointing out the hypocrisy. Adam is demanding that America allow foreign nationals to come here and say whatever they want about our politics, our foreign policy, our institutions. But Adam himself won't go to another country and exercise that same level of free speech. He won't go to the UK and mock Islam, even though they have hate speech laws that he disagrees with. He won't go to Turkey and criticize Islam, even though he thinks speech should be free. Why? Because he values his personal safety over the principle, which again, totally understandable. I don't blame him, but you can't have it both ways. You can't say free speech is sacred and we should defend it at all costs, and then refuse to take any personal risk for it. And this is where Adam starts getting defensive and trying to redirect the conversation. He says, "This is what you do when you've lost an argument," but he's the one deflecting. Tim's making a crystal clear point. You claim to value free speech more than Tim does, but you won't actually risk anything for it. So maybe you don't value it as much as you think you do. It's such a clean argument, and Adam has no answer for it. So he tries to make it about Tim demanding something unreasonable from him, when really Tim's just exposing the contradiction in Adam's position. I know you guys see this. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think Adam genuinely believes he's pro-free speech? Or is he just another liberal who only supports speech when it aligns with his politics?
Legal punishment.
No.
You don't think that that's... You don't agree with that?
You presented me an absolute. Right? You gave me the extreme end.
Okay. So Rumeysa Ozturk, I think, is a really illustrative example because it was such a mild
understand
version.
That they've made an agreement upon entering this country that if they are in violation of the terms of their visa, it may be revoked. If they come here with the intent of advocating against U.S. foreign policy, that is a consequence. Speech has consequences. I think we're getting hung up on the issue that I've clearly answered, and I understand maybe you don't understand, but
I think I've pinned you down well enough that like you just like really have a much smaller view of free speech than I do, and I think a lot of Americans do. I think it's a change to the American spirit. I think it makes the country smaller. It's a shittier country to live in. Is a country where people live in fear of what they say when they're here on a student visa.
Always have.
Yeah, and that's bad. It's bad to live in fear of saying shit.
This is not. You see, this is here's the issue. I suppose
your whole bullshit culture baiting thing about the Islam stuff in England. If what you say is true, and it may be, I don't know because I don't I don't really follow that as you would do.
Never.
But I think it's bad. About that country.
You would never go to the UK and do those things.
If I were now, look, I don't know of the policies of which you speak, okay? But if I were to be in England and I were to make a joke on their stage and I were to be put into a van and removed from a country, I would say this is a bad thing about England, and I think that the country sucks, and I think that they should change it, and I don't think people should go there anymore, and that sucks for them and it sucks for us.
You wouldn't make a joke about Islam in the United States. You wouldn't.
Okay. Sure. What's that meant to prove?
You don't actually believe in free speech. You fear the consequences.
Because I don't make a joke about the topic that you demand me to?
Because this topic
I don't believe in free
has resulted in people like at Charlie Hebdo getting murdered.
Yeah, that's bad. It's bad that they were murdered.
South Park tried just showing Mohammed, and Comedy Central wouldn't let him do it.
Yeah, that's bad.
So let's see you stand up for that value and come out and make a joke about Islam.
I've stood up about free speech plenty of times. What are you talking about?
Take it to the next level, brother.
Okay.
How about we do this? You believe in free speech.
Dude, this is what you do when you've lost an argument, is that you just you just
not even
jump to this. You just jump to this. What'd you say?
You brought it up.
What did I the Islam piece of it. No.
And now I'm continuing the conversation and you're derailing into you must have lost the argument.
No, because
let's stand up for South Park, for Matt Stone and Trey Parker.
Yeah, I stand up for them.
So go on stage and show a big picture of Mohammed.
I'm sorry, what the thing that you're doing.
Stand up for free speech, brother, do it.
So
I'll do it with you.
So you're demanding me to go on stage and
prove
do something
care about
specific,
free speech.
And unless I do, I'm a coward.
I'm saying
this is a bizarre rhetorical move.
Speech.
This is a bizarre rhetorical move.
I didn't call you a coward. I said, prove you care about free speech.
Yeah,
do something that creates real risk to your person for free speech.
Yeah, I speak about shit all the time, dude. I'm happy to live in America where the things I say don't create real risk to my person. In fact, if I were to say the things that you're saying, I would not be creating real risk to my person.
You don't think so?
I do not think so.
Then why not just do it? Prove me wrong.
Because I don't have anything in particular to say about those topics.
Just put a picture of Mohammed up and say, praise be. Prove I'm wrong.
I'm really glad we got here again because it's just very fun to sit in how weird this part of the conversation is.
Remember Charlie Hebdo?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, what happened?
Yeah, a bunch of people were shot because they
Put a picture of Mohammed.
Yeah, that's bad.
You think if you did that, they might want to shoot you too?
Yeah, maybe.
So you shouldn't do it.
I mean, I don't have it. Well, the particular images that they showed, I didn't think were like very funny. Like it was their right to
wouldn't
do
let
it.
South Park
but,
do it either. They censored the whole thing.
Yeah,
and
that's
bleeped out,
bad.
like,
That's bad, and I think that's contrary to American values.
Why won't the free speech people who believe we should live in this country stand up against that?
I'm sorry. I'm not standing up for free speech unless I do what exactly?
I didn't say the only way for you to stand up for free speech is to do something. I said, why won't people who are claiming...
You called me a hypocrite, and I don't understand what's hypocritical about me only doing jokes about the topics that I'm interested in.
That you would not go to the UK and speak in violation of their speech laws.
I mean, I went there. I made fun of their government. I talked about, the fire at Heathrow because that impacted my travel when I was there. I talked about, yeah.
So you can make fun of white people, but you can't make fun of non-white people. You go to jail for that.
Okay, yeah, I think that would, if it's as you say, that sounds like if it applied to me as a comedian,
I would not.
I think it would say that's a bad law.
I would not go to Turkey and speak out against Islam, and I would not go to the UK and violate their speech laws.
Oh, okay. So are you a coward? What's your point?
No, I actually agree with the sovereignty of nations, and if they have laws, I'm not going to violate them.
Oh, I see. I see the point that you're making. Okay. So when things are legal, they're just.
No.
Okay. So then what is your point?
Your argument is that foreigners should come here.
So one of your values is you should respect the sovereignty of other nations. But again, look,
yeah, for sure.
This is a
should we invade China?
This is a recent change in the way that the U.S. prosecutes and selectively enforces the laws that are on the books, and that's what happened to Rumeysa Ozturk, and again, that's like a material change in like the spirit and values of America.
Just because I think we spent like an hour on the one subject.
Yeah, I've been having a great time. Yeah,
I agree. It's been fun. I have a question for you.
Yeah, sure.
In terms, you mentioned that Trump is, it's the makings of authoritarianism and things like that. Do you think that's distinct from any other administration?
Keep going.
Is the authoritarian push from the Trump administration? Obviously, there's going to be procedural distinctions, but I mean, like. Were other administrations not also doing similar authoritarian maneuvers that were gas?
Yeah, I mean, every single American administration could. I'm sure I can find things that I disagree with. Absolutely.
I think one of the challenges that we have in the United States right now is the people that largely support Trump and voted for him, particularly in his first term and largely carrying over into the second one, non-consecutive, had never voted before. We saw parts of the country that normally don't vote start turning red, start lighting up with new voters. I was at a rally for Trump in Fort Lauderdale, and most of the people that I met were like, I don't vote. I never voted before. So these were new voters, which were like poor, white, working class people. And so what I think we end up seeing happen, especially right now, is for younger voters, it's interesting considering they are shifting to the right, but they also have less memory of administrations past. For me, I voted for Obama. He was an evil man. And I didn't vote in 2016 because I said the system is corrupt. I've lived through, I was a teenager when the Gore v. Bush stuff happened, and I just saw bickering and arguments and I'm right, then war and bullshit. Mm-hmm. Then Obama comes around, and I was, how was I, 22 or something, and people were like, you got to vote. I was 22. You got to vote for him. He's changed. It's new. He wasn't supposed to win. Hillary Clinton was supposed to be the person, so I voted for Obama. One of the first things he does is he bombs a Pakistani village, kills a bunch of women and children. And I went, holy fuck, stopped voting. Didn't vote in 2016.
All right, so let's talk about what we just watched, because this was a masterclass in how to dismantle someone's argument without losing your cool. Tim Pool absolutely dominated this conversation from start to finish. And here's why. Tim had a coherent, consistent position the entire time. His position was simple. America has laws. Foreign nationals who come here agree to those laws. If they violate the terms of their visa, they get sent home. That's not authoritarian. That's just how conditional visas work. Adam, on the other hand, kept shifting his position and using emotional language to avoid engaging with the actual substance. He'd say things like, "People are living in fear. This is a violation of American values. She was accosted by men on the street." All of this designed to make you feel bad for Rumeysa Ozturk without actually addressing whether what happened to her was legally and morally justified. And every time Tim tried to pin him down on the specifics, Adam would pivot to something else. He'd bring up George Carlin getting arrested for swearing, which Tim agreed was bad. He'd bring up Kent State, which Tim agreed was bad. But then when Tim pointed out that those are completely different situations than a foreign national having her visa revoked for violating its terms, Adam couldn't respond. He just kept going back to the emotional framing. The Islam section was the nail in the coffin, though. Tim exposed the core hypocrisy in Adam's worldview. Adam claims to value free speech above all else, but he won't actually take any personal risk for it. He won't go to the UK and violate their hate speech laws. He won't go to Turkey and criticize Islam. He respects the sovereignty of other nations, which is exactly what Tim's been arguing America should do by enforcing its own visa laws. And when Adam finally admitted that, when he said, "I respect the sovereignty of nations, and if they have laws, I'm not going to violate them," the debate was over. Tim won, because that's literally Tim's entire position applied to America. Look, I don't think Adam's a bad guy. I think he's just ideologically captured. He hates Trump so much that he's willing to twist himself into knots to make Trump's policies seem authoritarian, even when they're just normal enforcement of existing laws. And that's the problem with so many people on the left right now. They can't separate their feelings about Trump from the actual substance of what's happening. If this exact same thing had happened under Obama, if a foreign national on a student visa had advocated against U.S. foreign policy and had their visa revoked, Adam would probably be defending it, or at the very least, he wouldn't be calling it authoritarian. But because it's Trump, it has to be bad. It has to be evidence of America becoming a dictatorship. That's not intellectually honest, and Tim called it out perfectly. So here's my final take. Tim Pool is right. America has the right to enforce the terms of its visas. Foreign nationals who come here don't have the same free speech protections as citizens, and they never have. That's not new. That's not Trump. That's just how it works. And if you don't like it, change the law. But don't pretend that enforcing the law as it currently exists is some unprecedented authoritarian overreach. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I want to hear what you guys think about this whole debate. And I'll see you in the next one. Stay sharp.